My microphone was muted. Hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I don't know at which time you're going to be watching it, but welcome. And I hope this is a good time. It's a time for learning, time for improving your English. In this week's life lesson, we are going to talk about how to make a personal study plan. Why did I choose this subject? Sometimes we really want to learn English. We really want to make it happen. We want to improve it, but we get lost on so many activities, so many goals and projects that we have, and we ended up not putting the amount of time that we expected. So that's why it's so important to create, to build a study plan, right? And the idea with this plan is you can use it if you have just started studying a new language, or if you're thinking about your next goal. So something that we have to keep in mind is that our learning process is not linear. Many times we will have bumps in the road, and we will have other things happening in our lives and other projects showing up, and sometimes we will not have the time that we expected. So and then you will have a certain amount of time or phase in your life in which you are going to learn a lot and study a lot and improve your English, and then after that you will take a break because something is going to happen, and that's okay. The most important thing is that you keep studying, that you keep dedicating yourself. So today we are going to be talking about it. If you have any questions, you can always leave it in the comments. If you are online and you wanted to participate, you can let me know in the comments and I'll bring you in, and then we can exchange, we can practice English together. All right? So, we sometimes have a hard time navigating all our alternatives, right? So I know it is hard if you don't have a guide, if you don't have a teacher to help you, if you don't have a course, you may feel a little bit lost. And maybe because of that, you ended up on the YouTube channel for Languistic.ca, for example, or maybe you were looking for a specific subject video on certain subject, and then you ended up on our channel, right? So we today have many alternatives, many options, and sometimes we don't know where to start at. Should I start studying grammar? Should I start studying verbs? Should I focus on my speaking? Should I focus on my listening? So we will talk a little bit about all these things today. But before, I would like to ask you to, if you haven't yet, hit the subscribe button, and if you like this video, if you like this content, hit the like button, and that way you can be aware, more aware of the content that we have been creating here. Okay? All right. So I have a little bit of my planning here, as planning is important. I'll be taking a look on that once in a while for us to have a good and planned time, right? So, the first thing that I would like to share with you guys is why should we or why should you establish a routine? I'm going to share my content with you. Just a second. There we go. So, why should you establish a routine? We are all quite busy, right? We have many activities. We go to work, we go to the university, we have social gatherings, we have the some hobbies that we like to get involved with. So we are always very busy, and sometimes to find a time to accomplish our goals and our ideas become a little bit challenging. So that's why it's important to think about and to create a study schedule. Okay, so I brought an article and I would like to share that with you guys. We are going to read it together, also learn some vocabulary. So, in this article, they are talking about the importance of having a study plan, right? Of course, in that case, it's the idea is in a general way, but we are going to use it to bring it to our reality, studying English, learning English, right? So let's read together the first paragraph. Do you find yourself procrastinating a lot when trying to study or not able to keep up with the number of materials with your current study schedule? So I think this question gets all of us answering yes, right? We have been procrastinating a lot. I think that procrastination is the word of the moment. If you don't know what procrastination is the act of postponing an activity. So you always say, I will do it later. I will do it in another time. I'll do it when I have more time. The classic one, I'll do it during the weekend. And then the weekend arrives and we don't do anything, right? So, a way to overcome procrastination is by organizing yourself, is by creating a study plan. Okay. I study plan is helpful at times like these. Having a study plan is one important feature that helps in an excellent organization as well as creating a sense of accountability in the studies learning the process. In the students learning the process, sorry. Remember, planning is essential to succeed in all area of activities. So not only for learning English, but in any other moment or areas of your life, planning is very important. It's what will make you succeed. I want to work on some vocabulary here. You're not able to keep up with the number of materials. Do you know the meaning of that word? Keep up. Could you guess? So keep up. I'm going to change my screen here now so I can get back to there we go. So I can show you some of the meanings. Keep up is move or progress at the same rate as someone or something else. Continue a course of action. So when you are able to keep up with things, you are able to continue them, right? To keep doing that. And so let's get back to the article. So so here they're saying, do you find yourself procrastinating a lot when trying to study or not able to keep up with the number of materials with your current student study schedule? Are you not able, are you procrastinating when you try to keep doing what you're doing, when you have to organize everything that you have to study, and not only study, but in life in general, right? The other vocabulary that I would like to highlight here is accountability. Do you guys know what accountability is? Any guesses? So, accountability is the fact or condition of being accountable. Responsibility. Sometimes when we try to do things by ourselves, we are not accountable. We ended up creating some excuses and excuse, and we are going to say, tomorrow I'm going to do that. Well, nobody is seeing what I'm doing, so I would just postpone it. I can choose to do it last minute. So when we don't have someone to talk about it and to ask you, have you done this? Have you finished what you told me that you would? It can become we can become lazier, and we can postpone things more. So to have someone, or to have a study plan and be able to follow it, it's a way to keep your accountability. It's a way to keep progressing on your plans and on your in your goals. Okay. All right. So let's get back to the article. A study plan isn't the only timetable. A study plan is more comprehensive than timetable because it defines a methodology to deal with the preparation, planning, and problems faced in each subject by an individual. So they're explaining that having like a study plan, it's more complex, and it brings like a methodology. That's when you stop and decide, okay, that's my plan. That's what I'm going to follow, right? And that's why it's so important. A goal should be set. We are going to get back to that in a minute. We are going to talk about the goals. Teacher Karine, how do I set my goals in order to learn English? We're going to talk about it in a minute. So a goal should be set. Items should be prioritized. Here I would like to highlight this word and to talk to you about it, right? Prioritize. The first question that you have to ask yourself is, how important learning English is for me. So when you ask this question, you are asking about your priorities. If studying English, learning English is your priority, you will find the time, right? You will keep doing it even when it gets harder, when life brings challenges, right? So, this is really important to have a goal. We're going to talk about that in a minute and prioritize it. Okay, prioritize it. It's really important. Let me check if we have. Okay, so a goal should be set, items should be prioritized, and an effective study plan should be drawn. What is drawn? Right? The participle of the verb draw. This should be based on the following analytical approach. So we are getting very detailed here, right? This is very important. I have also a business background, so these words and this way of seeing things and planning things, it's very common for me. It's really part of my routine and the way that I organize my activities. But I see a lot of people around me struggling to find a way to plan things and to accomplish goals, right? How do I do that? So we are getting there here. How many free hours are available? Here we have to be very honest, okay? Usually, when we are in this phase of the planning, we tend to be to fantasize a little bit. Do you understand? Fantasize to create stories in our mind, like to say that we have time, that I'm going to study 3 hours a day, and sometimes this is not possible. So it's really important to keep it real and to ask yourself, how many free hours are available? How many free hours I really have to do this? Okay, it's really important to ask yourself this. How to prepare and procure the course material. We are going to talk a little bit more about it in a minute. It's really important to know, where am I going to learn, right? From where, if you could say, or from which content, which material. We have to think about it. How much time should be dedicated to each and every subject in view of the individual requirement? Something that it's really important, and we are going to get back to that. You have to know your level, okay? You have to know where you are at. What have you learned so far? What are you capable when speaking English? Okay, and what you have to improve. It's really nice for me. The most interesting thing about creating a study plan and all of that is that you're able to think about your studies, how much you have progressed so far, how much you still have to work on. It's a really important moment in order to move you to the next level. Many students ask, I feel that I'm stuck, like I have learned some and then now I can't move on, right? I feel that my vocabulary is not as broad as I would like to, or my grammar is not at the level that I would like to, and I don't know what to do to move on, to go to the next level. Starting with a study plan, thinking about what you have studied already and new things that you should focus on. Sometimes we focus on the same things, the same activities, the same material, and we wanted to progress. Maybe we are past that already and we are in a new place. So we have to think about it. Okay. How to create an environment conducive for a fruitful study. It's really important that we think, where are we going to do that and how do we create it? And it doesn't need to be in a specific space, physical space. But for example, if you're going to study inside the metro while you go to work, while you're commuting to work, you can leave your book in your backpack. Don't forget your earphones, and prepare everything and create an environment where you know you're going to be able to go on with the activities that you have planned. For example, one can switch off the mobile phone for a designated period. We know these days that we love to be connected to our mobiles, social media, and all of that. And there is a great part on that. Like, I think that social media can be a source, a very good source for learning. But we also have to watch out and be careful when we wanted to create like a time to be very productive, right? So I would like you to use all these inputs to think about your reality, right? The big secret here is that you're going to adapt everything I'm talking, everything I'm sharing to your reality. Okay? So, following are some of the important aspects of a study plan. So, my first question for you was, why should you establish a routine, right? And I already point out some reasons. Because we are quite busy lately, we have many activities. Sometimes we don't know where to start at. So, because of all these reasons, you should get excited about creating a study plan. So, increased productivity. A study plan will help you split your studying into bite-sized chunks. What it means is small pieces, okay? And outlining what you need to do every day will help you know exactly what you need to do. And then this way, you can learn and memorize more effectively and avoid stressing yourself. In addition, I study plans with to-dos for each day will help you avoid procrastinating for your exam. I don't know if you're here because you need to prepare for an exam, IELTS or CELPIP, or if you just wanted to create a study plan for your general English studies. Either way, we know that by creating the study plan, you're going to divide the content that you have to study. You are going to organize it, and you're going to know exactly what to do. What happened many times? We say, okay, I'm going on Monday, I'm going to start studying English. And then we don't know, where should I start? Should I just watch a video or read a book or pay for a private class? What should I do, right? Which actions should I take? So if you create a study plan, you're going to be able to have all this organized. You will have all the ideas organized and bit-sized chunks. You're going to know exactly what to study on Monday, exactly what to study on Tuesday, exactly what to study for on Wednesday, exactly what to study on August, right? So this is going to help you organize yourself and get things done. That is the most important part. Get things done. Do you guys have any questions so far? If you're watching it after, you can always leave your comment in the chat. Okay. All right. So I'm giving you a reason to build your study plan, increase your productivity. Time management. When it comes to the academic success, and as I told you here, the article is directed to academic studies, but we are adapting to our reality. When it comes to the academic success of students, it is important to effectively use his or her time, and sticking to a study timetable drawn is important as important as creating one. So again, it's not enough just to create it, right? You have to stick with that. You have to follow through. A study plan gives you time for the unpredicted. For instance, if something pops up, you will not have to worry since you have already had time to study. So when you prioritize and you decide, okay, I'm going to study before, or I'm going to study in the morning because then it's before everything else and I will not have any problems on the way, then you have it done and you don't need to worry about it, right? The nice thing about all of this is it's you analyzing your own schedule, and you are going to be able to be honest and say, maybe if I say that I'm going to study on Mondays and Wednesdays, it's not possible because actually I work late on these days, right? So you're going to be able to review it many times and to be able to change and to create it in a way that works for you. Less stress. A study plan also helps reduce stress. Majority students are guilty of waiting for the last minute to start cramming for an exam. However, cramming brings on added pressure and stress, which you can avoid if you started preparing for your exams early. With a study plan, you get to cover each and every bit of your study material as you have plenty of time. So, as I mentioned in the beginning, if you are here and you feel a little bit frustrated about your studies right now in English, you don't know, you are not evolving, and you don't see improvements, maybe because you haven't used your time in the right way. So this is going to be an opportunity to build a plan and to really get ready for your goals. If you start studying before time, then nothing will hinder you from getting those straight A's. So as I mentioned before, maybe you're not studying English for the university or to get to take a test, but you are still working on in your studies and you wanted to improve your English. So even though you're not taking tests, you want to improve, and these A's would mean your improvement, right? The new levels that you are achieving. Studying early will help students to memorize more effectively. Also, when we take some time and we when we decide to take some time and we work on that time, we prioritize our studies, we are going to get more results, right? So many times I have students come over and say, teacher, I feel blocked or I feel stuck. I think I have a problem. I'm sure you have said that already or you have heard that already. So and then I usually ask, okay, for how long have you been studying daily? And then usually the student is not studying daily, and it's not making daily efforts, right? So it is really important that we are honest and we look at the reality of our situation, and that's how we are going to be able to improve it. Okay. All right. So let's get back to my document. Okay. So I hope that I have convinced you that creating a study plan is important, and that it's going to change your game if you do this. So if you have decided, if you're sure about it, we go to the second step. What is your main goal in developing this routine, right? You're going to consider your strength and your weaknesses. Okay. As I mentioned before, sometimes we get stuck in a level because we don't get the time to really invest on our studies. So this is the idea here, right? So you're going to ask yourself 3 questions. What am I good at? What is challenging for me? What is impossible for me? So I'm going to give you some examples. What I'm good at, I know how to introduce myself very well. It's easy. I already know the vocabulary that I need to use. It's simple. I can do it. Talking about my job, it can be a little bit challenging. So it's something that I have to work on. I can do it, but it's challenging. What is impossible? Giving a business presentation. No, this is too much for me. So what is challenging me is the zone in which you wanted to work, and you wanted to decide where you wanted to address, what you wanted to address over there. Okay. So as I mentioned here, you can focus on general things that you are able to and that you're not able to, or you can focus on skills. My listening is not good. I cannot understand what people are saying in general. I have a hard time understanding. So then you're going to work on your listening. No, I understand everything, but when I have to share my ideas, my thoughts, I have a hard time doing it. Then you're going to work on your speaking. Or maybe you're working and you write many mails, or you have to write documents. Then writing is going to be your main task. I personally like to concentrate on what's difficult right now. So, for example, if you just arrived in a new country and you don't know the basic things like going to a supermarket, introducing yourself, talking a little bit about yourself. Every time you go to a place, people ask, what are you doing here? What brought you here? So be ready to talk about it. We have a video, a live on greetings and small talk. You can search the video here on the channel. Okay. So then after that, you decided, okay, I'm going to focus on my listening, for example. You have to create your goals, and these goals have to be smart. What does it mean? So, smart for S is specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time based, right? So, each one of the letters here represent uh, an idea. Why it has to be specific, teacher Karine? Sometimes we uh, we like to we like to create um, very general goals. For example, I want to improve my listening, and then we get lost, right? So, okay, so but how do I do that? So it has to be specific. You have to know exactly what you're going to do. It has to be measurable. You're not going to say, oh, I'm going to watch more videos. How many? How many times a week you're going to do that? So you have to ask yourself, okay? Uh, woo, the time passed fast. So it has to be achievable, right? So you have to it you cannot say, for example, oh, I'm going to read 3 books every week. Is it achievable, right? Is you can really do that, you can really achieve it. So ask yourself. Similar to that, it has to be realistic. You're not going to create anything that it's out of your reality, and then you're just going to get frustrated. And it has to be time based. Don't say, oh, this year I'm going to do this. uh, you have to share it, you have to divide it, like, okay, this month, this week, every day, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so I brought some examples. Learn 20 new vocabulary words by September, right? By September. Be able to make a restaurant reservation on the phone by next week. What 2 videos weekly on Languistic.ca YouTube channel for the next 2 months. So these are real goals, and goals that you're going to be able, oh, I'm doing it, or I'm not doing it. And as I mentioned before, you can always change it. Okay? Number 3, you have to decide what sources are you going to use. These days we have internet. You can have free content here. We have you can go on playlists and find subjects about grammar subjects, games. So you can go there and you can find whatever you need. So you have to decide. For example, I'm going to watch 2 videos on grammar every week, right? Or I'm going to complete 3 pages of my grammar book every week or every day. You can take private classes, right? If you join Languistic.ca, we have many options for you. You can take a look, see which best fits you. And then you can have a private class. So it can be part of your study plan. Every week, I'm going to have a private class together with all these other activities that I'm going to do. How often are you going to do that? So again, going back to the goals, like, when are you going to do this, right? So get your calendar, think about it. What is the time in my day that I'm going to be able to do that? For example, at work, I have 30 minutes to have lunch, and then during lunchtime I'm going to listen to something, or I'm going to complete an exercise, right? Very tangible things, don't forget it. Setting up your timetable, like, so you're going to get all this planning, and then you're going to fix your timetable, right? For example, you could say, watch two 5 minutes video every week, listen to a podcast per week. And what you're going to do, going to get your calendar. I don't know if you have a online calendar, if you have an agenda. If you don't have anything, get one, because that is really important for planning and to keep up with things. So then you're going to grab it and you're going to write down, for example, Monday, I can think Monday is a busy day. So I will have 15 minutes to use with my English studies. So then I have 10 minutes in the morning while I take my breakfast. So I'm going to listen to a video, right? So Tuesday, it's impossible. It's full already. I don't have anything. I don't have any time. I don't have any space. Okay, I'm trying to be realistic here because sometimes we fantasize about things and we wanted to create a schedule that it's not real, right? That it's not going to work. Then on Wednesday you have 30 minutes, and then you can say that you're going to complete complete grammar exercise. Okay, so you have a grammar and you haven't used it yet. It's just over there. You bought it and you have never practiced. So put it um, on your study plan. So on Thursday, you're going to have an hour. Wow. So for this an hour, you can break it into pieces, okay? Or you can take this whole hour. I always recommend my students to break into pieces so it doesn't become a task that you have to overcome, a big task like, oh my gosh, I have to study for an hour. That's a lot. If you are not used to studying a lot, if you are, that's great. Take the an hour and the hour and study the whole time like straight. But if you have a hard time doing it, then take your time and break it into pieces. So you can say 50 minutes in the morning, and you're going to write a journal to practice your writing, for example, right? And then you have 50 minutes during lunchtime, and you're going to listen to a video, watch a video. And then at night, you have 30 minutes. So you listen to a podcast. Right? So you're going to write it down on your Google Calendar, on your agenda, and you're going to follow it, right? In the beginning, it's going to be hard. But if you make the commitment with yourself and say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to follow my study plan, then you will see the results. Try for a month, and I can promise that you're going to see a huge difference. Okay. I had many other things to share, but I think it was enough information for you that wanted to set your study plan. If you are watching it afterwards and you would like to leave a comment or you have a question, you can ask it and I will answer as soon as possible. All right. So, again, don't forget to subscribe, follow us on Languistic.ca, and don't hesitate if you have questions, if you want to talk to us, if you have any comments, we will gladly answer you. Okay? So I will see you next live. Bye bye.